So I've learned that just as human beings, we want our pain to be witnessed by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is why, our ancestors and all other cultures, like when a grown adult dies, it's like some people, it happens in funeral homes, like you have a wake or whatever it is when they get to come see you, they get to come spend time with you. But families in the world, other parts of the world have their loved ones' bodies in their home for days and possibly weeks for mourning and connection and all of these things. And when a baby dies, it's like medical waste or sent to, a funeral parlor. And it's like quick burial, quick cremation, like things have to happen fast. And it's just, we need to be seen. We need our babies. We need people to know that this has happened and that it happens to so many of us.
Hello, I'm Melissa Crook, your host here on the F.E.E.L podcast. Good to be back here with you this week. I've got my friend Vallen Webb here with me today. And Vallen and I have connected in 2025. I feel like I've known her longer than that. Her journey is such a incredible example of the complexities of life and how you can take the most difficult things and make them the most resource-filled opportunities, how you can learn to live in all the nuances of emotion at one time because of these life experiences. And Vallen has done this in such a enriching, powerful way. That's the best way to know how to describe it. She's got multiple resources that she's built out on this website where she's created these collaborations. She has her own podcast. I had the great honor of getting to record with her a couple of months ago. She's been on panels with me. And you're going to understand as I unfold her story today with her through our talking points, why I feel so compelled to share her voice with our listeners, because she's offering resources to women. Too many women go through these experiences and feel isolated and alone, even this day and age, even with as many advances as we've had in medicine and technology. And we're going to get into all of that here shortly. But before doing that, Vallen describes herself as resilient, joyful, courageous, funny, and griefy. And we're going to get into what griefy means as we get into this and the ability to hold the nuance of all of those character traits she described. Vallen Webb, welcome to the F.E.E.L podcast.
Thanks for having me, Melissa. I love that. I love your intro and the way that you do that.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to have you here. Let's start with self-care. You're a busy mom. You've got a partner and a family. You're doing this work. You've got your own podcast. You're in a very busy season of life. And this is something you've had to learn through these different experiences you've went to, but the importance of taking care of yourself well and making that time each day to fill your cup and really work on your self-care.
Well, self-care looks different for me every single day. And actually, I realized lately how much I haven't been doing it. I just had my residency for my graduate school last week, and we're practicing our counseling sessions, right? Counseling. And she was like, she's like, it sounds like, you haven't been doing these things and maybe we should start practicing with intention. And I was like, it's so funny that we know how to do these things, but sometimes it just falls off and we don't even recognize. So it was just a really good reminder for me that it doesn't matter what we're doing as long as we can do it with intention. And people may hear that word and feel like, that's like, ugh, so hard. Like, what does that even mean? It just means doing it on purpose. Doing it on purpose for yourself. It's so easy. Like, I'll just go through the drive-through or somewhere and grab coffee, but there's no intention. And so it's not special for me and it doesn't bring me any joy.
Yeah.
So she reminded me just by using that word. And even though I know that the intention of what we do is more important than what we're doing, it made me realize I wasn't doing that. So self-care lately It's just honestly doing the things that I do normally, like showering and brushing my hair and, just taking a few minutes to myself, or even working, because I enjoy it so much. Like it just feels special when I do it.
Yeah.
But the intention behind it. So like, it's, it's just thinking to myself, like, no, I need to brush my hair, my beautiful hair. I love my hair and I've been wanting to do it this way. I've been wanting to take care of it and stop wearing it in my mom bun, which I've been wearing since I was probably like 8 years old when I, started playing basketball. My hair has been up, and I'm really in this place where I'm like, no, I like the me that I'm working towards, like I'm trying to build is like, I want my hair down and I want it to be pretty and I don't want it to be like broken, from all the elastics. So the intention behind brushing my hair and actually doing my hair every day has been important for me. It makes me feel so much better. There was like there's a 10-year span where I stopped doing even brushing.
Yeah.
It's easy just to throw it up days on end, like 3-4 days in a row, just throwing it up, throwing some dry shampoo in there. Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, this isn't all about hair, but the intention behind it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, when I'm doing a podcast episode, or if I'm creating something, I'm like, okay, I really want this to hit for the women who need it. I really would love to feel supportive for anybody who listens to it. So just setting an intention in whatever I do, and that makes it special and that makes it feel like there's a purpose there. So self-care for me lately is less of what I do and more of how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
In this season. Yeah.
I love that. I think that's such a great scope to look at it with, because our self-care can start feeling a lot like a checklist if we stop approaching it with intention. And it's just another thing to check off the list. And so you check off the list, and I'm a big checking off the list fan, like, oh yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it. But did I get anything? And for years, my self-care was definitely, oh, I went for my run today. Check. Yeah, but what did I get out of my run today? Was my head just scrambling the whole time, or did I take in the scenery around me? Did I stop to breathe in the fresh air more so, or was I just rehearsing my next to-do thing in my head? So it's, just that stopping and pausing and taking a moment. I have to laugh. I think the dry shampoo was the best and worst thing that has happened, because it can be so like, my oldest daughter discovered it when she was in college. She was a college athlete. And she's very long hair. And so it became like, oh my gosh, it's the best thing ever. She used it some in high school, really hit in college, but then it was also this realization of like, oh, I still have to wash my hair sometimes. Yeah. I think it's those little things, and sometimes we need them. And sometimes it's important, but we lose sight of these simple things that are part of who we are. That I've had more people throughout my life tell me, oh my gosh, you can do, and we're not making this about hair, but you have the best hair. It will do anything, whatever. And I'm like, I do have the best hair. I need to like honor that and wear it in a way that is like, yeah, I am fortunate that way. My hair will pretty much curl and adapt and do. You have enough of it, but not too much. So I get it's like just pausing and just sometimes take somebody to remind you of. Yeah. I think it's so easy to get caught up in all the checklists. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that scope on self-care. And this goes nicely into setting healthy boundaries in terms of making the time and space for those things that you need. I mean, you and I had a conversation back and forth where you needed to move your time of recording with me because it just wasn't going to fit, with the time your kiddos might wake up and coming and going and not having your husband home yet. And so okay, we need to shift this so Vallen can show up in a way that feels honoring to her, that she can really sit down and be present, because it's that sitting down and being present and doing these things that we enjoy. Whether it's creating the way we do, or just those simple, basic things we do when we look in the mirror and are excited about them. But yeah, I love that so much. Talk to me about how you are so busy. So tell me what guides your boundaries?
Well, me.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm paying attention, but honestly, it depends. It depends on what kind of day it is. I mean, let me think about boundaries for a second. How do I want to come at this? Lately we've been in a transition, so things are changing. I'm trying to learn what our new schedules are and what kind of boundaries we have to set around that.
Yeah.
This point in our life, financially, things have changed. So we had to take a step back from letting, one of our kids do like travel basketball and things because it's a cost.
Yeah.
Right. But also, even though we made that decision financially, we realized that our kids don't always have to do everything. And that it's actually a disservice, like for our family as a unit, when we are constantly on the go and don't have any time together.
Yeah.
Because I have 4 children. So, some days it's like one of our kids stays after school, does basketball practice. And if she was, playing travel, she'd go right to her next practice. And my other child plays piano. And so like we're splitting off every day after my husband would get home from work.
Yeah.
And we're not getting home till like 7 o'clock at night. And we have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. So boundaries, this season of life, it was like, we have to let go of some things.
Yeah.
And actually I just did that a couple of days ago, 2 days ago. Yesterday, I had a bit of a mental breakdown, truly.
Yeah.
I think it was devastating. Like I could not function yesterday. And I realized, like, 1, I'm not resting. 2, I just got off that 4-day residency of like counseling.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, and plus everything. So, graduate school, podcast, online business, husband's working, 4 kids. There's like, it's just a lot. And so I've had to like let go. I let go of a volunteer position a couple of days ago for PSI. And what else? I put one of my, my contractors on pause because I just don't even have it in me to delegate.
Yeah.
My social media needs. Like I don't have it in me. And so I've been forcing.
Yeah.
In the season where I've been trying to force things because I want them to be a certain way. And I'm very patient and I see the vision and I have the vision and I'm trying to hold the vision and things aren't moving. And I'm like, F it. Like, maybe I'm just going to quit everything. Like yesterday, I'm like, I don't even know why we try. Like, why, what's the point? I was like having this existential crisis. But so boundaries right now is letting things go that are not supporting our goals as a family. Right now we are just really focused. We like with the way things are right now in the world and, just thinking about our futures for our children, spending time with them is like the most important thing. Like, there was something I read or listened to that was like the first 10 years of their life or 18 years of their life, you've spent like 75% of the time that you'll ever spend with them. Like It was like a really weird, like, I wish I could, I'm slaughtering this right now, but a majority of the time we spend with our kids is in that first 18 years. And that's, so, and that, I don't, it just as I get older, it hits me probably, because I'm getting older.
Yeah.
So we're really focused on making sure that we're together more often and we're not distracted by all these things and our kids aren't being, pushed to go do a million things because kids need breaks.
They do.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now for boundaries.
Yeah. That's so good. Thank you so much for sharing that. I will look, I've got 3 grown daughters now and I can really relate to that time you spend with them. They're all over. I've got them in multiple states and in multiple places. And one of them is going to be moving in the spring. So she's only going to be 2.5 hours away from us. And I'm elated because it's the closest we've had one living to us. And we've lived all over the country. We're not your typical family who has a home base that everybody can come back to. We've lived everywhere. And so, which has been great. It's been a great adventure. And it's part of the reason our kids are all over, because they've embraced that as well. But also, that time. But I was fiercely protective of Thanksgiving break. And our kids played AAU basketball, club volleyball, soccer, took piano lessons. One was in theater in school. I mean, I look back now and I'm like, I think we had them in too many things. And I'd do some of that over again. But the one thing I did get right, and I fought for it, you don't get Thanksgiving break. No basketball tournament, no volleyball practice, nothing. You don't get, we had one AAU coach that was, he coached 2 of our 3 girls' teams. At one point, he coached all 3 of them. He was great, wonderful guy, still friends with him to this day. But there was a turkey trot tournament, and he's always wanting to put, I'm like, you guys can go. That's fine. You can be in it, but my kiddo's not going to be there. And my husband was the assistant coach. And I'm like, I am not giving that up. We give them so much already. No. And our kids always looked forward to it. The other thing I protected was the first 3 weeks of August. No camps, no summer league, this, that, or the other. 3 weeks of summer, no schedules, no bedtimes, nothing. And it's not very much, but it felt like, I mean, we would like, oh my gosh, it's coming. And I mean, it was like, and usually we left like, oh, we wish we had a little more of this, but you have to communicate those boundaries and be very clear with them, because people will continue to push back on those. And you have to fight for that, because that time is special. And it doesn't last forever. So I just wanted to add on to that. I hear you. And boy, so important.
I love that you did that.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. I was just like, no, because we decorate for Christmas the day after Thanksgiving. At that point in life, in that season, we were hosting Thanksgiving most of the time. And so no, you don't get that weekend. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want them to have to go anywhere. No. I think it's so important that we get very clear on those values, and you're going to, like I said, you're going to get pushback. But you have to just know that it's temporary, and the things that we thought were such a big deal for our kids to be in and miss, now it's like, God, that was just really so nothing. Like, I cannot believe how excited or irritated or turned up I would get about some of these things. So protect that with all your, good for you. Keep doing that. The next part we're going to talk about, and this really comes off of what you're doing right now and the boundaries you're setting and the clarity you're having. You realized yesterday you had like this, you hit the wall.
Yes, I did.
Your mental, emotional, physical health are all impacted by these decisions you make when you're overtapped or, I can be guilty of chasing things. Like, I have a vision. I want everybody to get it, and I want it now. I can totally relate to your impatience. And so I will start chasing, and I can feel it when I'm chasing, because I'm also very competitive. And so, I'm in a season right now where I've created all this stuff, and I so desperately want people to know the value of it and how it can help them and get it in their hands and start bringing in some resources and bringing in some income. But I also know you can't chase those things. And I was in a webinar today that reminded me about that. But in the meantime, it does a number when you're trying to balance all of it. It can do a number on your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health. You hit that wall yesterday. You responded to it. How long is it taking you to, it's like, I used to hit those walls and I would just get up and keep going. I missed the warning until farther down the road. Do you feel like you sense it more now than you used to?
I feel like all my answers are going to be like, it depends.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, typically when something like that happens, it's because of grief, because of my daughter. Yesterday was just weird. Like, I woke up in this hopeless state. Like, it was like depressed, like a deep depression. And I can't believe that I'm feeling better now. See, I'm yawning, I'm processing all this. It would take me months to get out of the hole like that.
Yeah.
Like yesterday it was so bad. Like my 11-year-old came home from school. I'm like, you need to sit with your brothers right now. I have to go upstairs. Like I was crying all day.
Yeah.
Everything felt hopeless. Like nothing was ever going to get better. And I'm not sure where it came from. It came out of nowhere to me.
Yeah.
Typically I can pinpoint like,
sure.
oh, this is happening or whatever. But, this for me, I don't know.
Well, and I think when you get tired and overrun, you become more vulnerable to those things. And grief is a tricky sister. She will show up unexpectedly without knocking on the door, and also needs to be acknowledged and felt and given the attention she needs. And which, I mean, you had, and this really goes to where your work comes in. And I'm curious too, how doing the work you do, how much that plays a role in the grief coming and going, because and I'll let you tell this story, because you do have 4 children now, but you've lost a baby during delivery, and no one's prepared for that. No one goes into having a baby thinking about those consequences. And consequently, over the years, there hasn't been a lot of, we went through with some very good friends of ours. It's been 12 or 13 years ago now. And you and I have talked about this, where they had a stillborn baby, and the lack of and she's a nurse at this hospital where this happened. Like, so she knows the people there. She knows what's available there. But what they were left to figure out on their own when this was over, for all the logistical pieces 2 weeks later. Holy cow. So talk to me about your journey and how, this is such a huge part of your mental, emotional, physical health, but also birthed, for lack of a better, ironically, word, this whole level of beautiful, resource-filled work you do for women and families
now. Yeah, it's a lot. And the first thing you asked was how my work affects, how I experience my grief and how it comes up. Just to answer that, it's one of the reasons I only do like my training 4 times a year. Like it is emotionally taxing, and I need weeks to recover from that.
Yeah.
And it does trigger the grief, and it happens differently every single time. And it can be the same story. It can be a different story. It can just be like thinking about it, like all over the map.
Yeah.
Truly. And so, losing my daughter, Evelyn, went in to have her. We found out she died. And just going through all of that, Bree, tell me the question again.
How that has, when you're now using what you've learned and all the training you've had to help other people navigate this space, how does that impact? Because sometimes you have these experiences and you go through the healing and it's always with you, but you're not working in this space all the time. You go on and work in other areas. Whereas you are talking to and in contact with moms and women and families on a continual basis. So do you think that, I'm how you navigate, filling your cup enough that because that's an emotional labor. And so how that it's both helped you, but it's also, I would think maybe sometimes can be a challenge, or have you figured out a way to navigate so it's not as much?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I get it. It's funny. Grief is funny, and it's terribly not funny.
Yeah.
Honestly, right after Evelyn died, I started a journal, and I literally, that's probably one of the only things that made me feel better in the early days. And I mean, it's right here. I literally just, look at it and I know what it is. But the only thing that I could think to do was help somebody else. Like, that's the only thing that I could think about that would make me feel better.
Yeah.
Make it feel less painful, I guess. And so immediately, like pretty immediately after she died, I actually had just taken my, postpartum training, like a few months before.
Oh, wow. And
that's the type of work that I had wanted to be in anyway. So this was, so once she died, I just was like, I'm just going to start doing this. And I also then started talking to hospitals locally and was just like, hey, I lost my daughter and I want to help other families who are, going through this.
Yeah.
And so I got my first call to come support a family. Not long after, a few months after maybe Evelyn died. And, I just went and sat in the room with them and watched, all these meaning making rituals and, prayers and, it's their worst day, and the people who come and visit and are in and out, it's like a normal day every other day. And these families, they're just sitting in this time bubble, it feels like it's moving. And so just being with them and being able to sit with them has helped me tremendously. I also found that, kind of like you were saying, we don't talk about this as loudly as we should.
Yeah.
And I often relate it to SIDS because we've all heard about SIDS.
Yeah.
And it is way lower than the babies who are lost from stillbirth.
Oh, wow.
And it's also, stillbirth is also, it's the leading cause of baby death in the US. So even children who have, get diagnosed with cancer and things like that. I think there's like around roughly 3,400 kids a year who die from like a cancer, child related disease. It's 2,000 babies a year die in the US alone from stillbirth. So it's one of those things where I don't understand it. And the only way I can make sense of why it's not talked about is because when babies, and not that any of these babies don't matter. It's not what I'm saying.
Right.
Just anybody who feels a certain way. But me trying to make sense of this as a mom, babies who die from SIDS are older. They're born. They're already here. They've already, and the babies who die at birth or in the womb are not considered babies, right?
Yeah.
They're not like whole little people. They're, they weren't ever out in the world and alive, so they don't count. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Just from everything that I've learned and everything that I do.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it feels as a lost mom.
Yeah.
Like the babies don't matter as much as these other babies because they were older, that type of thing. And that doesn't mean that that's correct or that it's an assumption I'm making from everything that I know and that I see. But, so just, I've learned that just as human beings, we want our pain to be witnessed by somebody. Like that is why, our ancestors and all other cultures, like when a grown adult dies, it's like some people, it happens in funeral homes, like you have a wake or whatever it is when they get to come see you, they get to come spend time with you. But families in the world, other parts of the world have their loved ones' bodies in their home for days and possibly weeks for mourning and connection and all of these things. And when a baby dies, it's like medical waste or sent to, a funeral parlor. And it's like quick burial, quick cremation, like things have to happen fast. And it's just, we need to be seen. We need our babies. We need people to know that this has happened and that it happens to so many of us.
Yes.
And statistics that you see, 1 in 4 women will experience pregnancy loss, but that's only of known pregnancies. That doesn't happen to women who don't know they're pregnant and have miscarried. It the people who don't go to medical facilities because they're not safe for them.
Wow.
It doesn't count all these other numbers, and we know that they're higher. So if you look around your group of friends, guaranteed somebody has gone through this, even if you don't know it.
Yeah.
It's prevalent. It's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just, it's really hard to be in grief work. It's very hard to witness other people's pain all the time. Especially when it's like, you become, in all these Facebook groups, and everybody shares their pictures of their babies, which are lovely, beautiful, and I love them all. And I just want to, message on all of them. But it's like, there comes a point every year where I'm like, that's all I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Babies that have gone too soon.
Yeah.
And I have to like unfollow or like mute for 30 days or whatever.
Sure.
Because it gets to a point like, just, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, just cry in every picture, every story that's shared. It compounds and it just becomes much. So I have to, like, again, boundaries. I have to set boundaries for myself. I have to get off social media. Typically, like, Evelyn's birthday is in July. So I know the entire month of July is shot for me.
Yeah.
My body starts feeling it before my brain even remembers. So like the last half of June, even like, I feel different. My body feels heavy. I start feeling sad, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I got all the vitamin D I need. Like, I know that I am just perfectly happy right now. Like, and I don't think of it until like, I'm like, wait, tomorrow's July. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
That body, the mind body connection, because grief attaches to our bodies.
Yeah.
It physically, I don't want to say hurts or harms, but it impacts our bodies significantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Well, I think you brought up something important. When you've got a kind of a tap out point where it's like, nope, I got to take a break now. I've taken in all I can take in. And for my own health and well-being and my ability to show up healthy and well in these different spaces, not just in this work, for my own family, for my own self, for my, friends, other things that bring me joy, I've got to do that. I think that's such an important piece. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I thank you so much for bringing up this. It's another one of those stigmas. And I think what can be so difficult is, as the woman who's carrying the baby, you still carry that life. That life was very much alive in you. You were very much aware. You've heard the heartbeat. You felt the kick. Depending on how far along you got in the whole process, your body still processes and moves through hormones wise as if you gave birth to a live baby. So your body carried, attached to, created a connection with. And I think that's something that only a woman who's gone through that can fully understand with other women. And so this idea, I think this inappropriate way we treat that life versus the life of a baby that's born, and you see the smile and the personality and the Googling and giggling and all those things. And every loss is tragic, but let's make sure we're allowing space and safety for all the grief, for all the different kinds of losses to be felt and seen and honored in the ways that need to be, and not elevate one as being more qualifiable than another. I was trying to think of the right word. I think that's such an important piece of this. And this is, so much where your work comes in. You have a podcast, you have this beautiful website, you have so many resources. I'm going to read from your website. I think this really does a great job. You got to go check out the website, people. But this statement really brings it all together for me. We're creating a new standard of care for pregnancy and infant loss, one that extends beyond the hospital. Through our new pilot program, using evidence-based training, education, and family support, Evelyn James and Company is building continuity of care for grieving families from hospital to home and through the first years after loss. Our program equips hospitals, doulas, and professionals to work together through a comprehensive support model that ensures no family faces life after loss alone. I mean, that so beautifully encapsulates what you do and all that's there and the love and intention that has gone into this. And to me, this is just such a prime example of how you show up unapologetically for yourself and for others, and how you've taken this experience and allowed it to allow you to stretch and reach into all these people's lives and make a difference for them and create these collaborations and connections. And so one, thank you for how you show up in the world. You know how much I admire you. I've talked to you about this all the time, because this isn't just something just anyone can do. And so was that time that you got called a couple of months after you lost Evelyn to be a resource to this family? Was that kind of where this whole idea of what was possible was birthed out of, in terms of Evelyn and James? And then also Evelyn James and Company, sorry, I said that wrong. And then also through the podcast, you're creating safe places to come to have these conversations. Were both ideas kind of birthed at the same time, or did one kind of come before the other?
Yeah, such good questions, and it makes me think myself, like, have I thought about this? But yeah, the experience with that first family, I realized, like, that was the one of the moments where I was like, my training that I just took for postpartum, right? For postpartum doula, the workshop, we had maybe a 30 minute talk about bereavement. Okay. It was literally, we watched maybe a video, like a family that discussed their experience and you know, the grandparents and things like that. But and this was months before I experienced my own. Mm-hmm. So I didn't think anything of it. Right. It wouldn't have been a big deal to me if Evelyn would be here. Right. I wouldn't care about the fact that there wasn't really a bereavement module. But I was like, I wasn't even trained for this. And there were just points in my story, you know, like just the nurses, you got really great nurses, and then you have nurses who have no idea what to do. You know, they don't know that they should be looking you in the eye. They should be making eye contact and just letting you know that they're there. And they, instead of avoiding you and like, you know, moving about the room like you're not there, or like not looking at the baby. And so just all these things, especially with that experience, I was like, I love like teaching this. And I didn't know that obviously before I started the training. And I something like, I need to create my own training. And I didn't want to take other people's trainings and then do my own. I was like, no, I want to create this like completely on my own, because I also didn't know that there was many people who did it. I knew like 2 or 3 people who had these types of trainings. Okay. But they also didn't feel right for me. Right. So, you know, I didn't connect with the copy that was used on, you know, their landing pages, or it didn't feel like me. Yeah. And I think I have a very special way of training, and it's just, it's not anything that I teach. It's me. Yeah. And that sounds, it's taken me a lot of time to, you know, allow myself to even acknowledge that I'm good at something. And to say it out loud. So that's very hard to do. But so I was like, no, I'm going to create my own training. And it took me a year, you know, from, you know, creating an outline. And this is like, at this point, 2022, like AI was not a thing. You know, I didn't have that to utilize. So I'm just here like, what do I need to know? Like, what didn't I have? And so I started outlining it, and, you know, I had to do a bunch of research and get like the actual peer-reviewed articles and all this stuff, and make sure that it could be called evidence-based. Right. Yeah. then I was reading books, all these books on grief and trying to figure this out. And then I launched it. We've trained almost 100 doulas and therapists and nurses. So I'm very proud of them. And so, yeah, that whole experience. And then the podcast, I mean, honestly, I started becoming obsessed with podcasts probably. When did I launch my podcast? 2023. No. Oh my God. My third year. So October 22nd was my third year.
Okay.
22.
Okay.
October 22.
Okay.
Oh my God. So I started my training the year before in 2021. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was listening to like Jenna Kutcher's podcast, right? The Real Dick podcast. And who else was I listening to at that time? There was a few of them, but I was like, I love this. And I'm like, okay, let's just do this. And so it's called the Pregnancy, Loss and Motherhood podcast. I've changed it a few times because I'm like, I want to talk about these other things too. But then I'm like, I changed it and I'm like, no, got to go back. I did that about 3 times. I'm staying with this one.
Yeah.
It's besides the pregnancy loss part, motherhood is broad and I can talk
absolutely
about and all these things and personal development that I just love.
Yeah.
So I just, I'm like, and again, there were a few other podcasts out at the time, but nothing that I liked.
Yeah.
Nothing that spoke to me.
Yeah.
And I that's why we start things in the first place, right? We
absolutely
want something that resonates with us and we know that there are people who probably feel the same. So yeah, that's how kind of
well, and I love how you've spoken to several things. Your why and values are so intertwined. Those boundaries you've set for your family time, the decision to go into this work and create these offerings, the ability to know when you're tapped out and you need to take a break. All of these, your value and why are just so intertwined. Have you always had a strong concept of your values and why behind the things you approach, or did this over the just having sometimes having a family and having like, this is the thing I need to do kind of helps round that out? So talk to me about the kind of the growth and development of your values and why and continuing to honor those.
Yeah, honestly, the first part of my life, I was a mess. That I had no idea what values were. I would consider myself a good person, values wise, but I didn't grow up in a values driven home. I grew up in a chaotic, volatile home.
Yeah.
And I didn't have good role models. So honestly, my journey started in 2016 when my husband left on his first deployment with the Navy.
Yeah.
I was alone. We had just moved 2 months earlier to Washington State, and I had 2 little girls under 2, and I was alone. And I felt like I wanted to die. Like I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
We did not have, strong family support. Like my dad came to visit, and he would, sit with the girls, like go take a shower and things like that. But other than that, we've done pretty much every fucking thing alone. Sorry.
Wow. Yeah. No, yeah, you are. It's welcome here.
Okay. So I found this book. I don't know. It's probably in my drawer. I keep it by me. But it's You Are a Badass by Jen Shiro. And it's the first personal development book that I ever picked up. And I picked it up because it swore in the title and it was bright yellow. And I was like, you know what? I have to do something. I'm like so depressed. And reading that book changed my life. Like she just has a way of like, wake the fuck up. Like it's the first time that I realized that I had to take responsibility for everything in my life. Yeah. Even if it was not my fault, even if I didn't do those things that made me the way that I was.
Sure.
I had a very deep, I still do, wounding. Like you could call it the mother wound, or I guess I don't know how to explain it. It was just, I'm just wounded and I was in a victim mortality because, you know, everybody I knew had these great families or seemed like they had a great family and a great life and all these things and they could get what they wanted. And we just sucked. Like nothing would get better. This is where I was yesterday. And it scared me. You know, it's like all this work, decade of work, and this is where we're going back to, Vallen. But that was like my introduction into personal development. And from there, literally, I've read probably well over like 100 personal development books. You know, I have like, it's so funny. Like I was looking at my podcast thing the other day and it told me how many hours that I've listened to podcasts. And it was like an 846 hours of podcasting that I've listened to. And that's not all of it because I've used different, you know, platforms. I am obsessed with it, but I also know it can be, it can, if you're not in a place to hear a message, you know, that you're reading or that you're listening to, and you take it to heart and, you know, for me, it's those things, it's like, you can quit your 9 to 5 in like 3 months, you know, just quit and you'll figure it out. Like they make it seem so easy. Right?
They don't talk about the mortgage that needs to be paid and the mouths that need to be fed and, you know, all the things that go with that.
But what we don't know is that, you know, the amount of privilege that they already have. Right. And so we're comparing ourselves to these people who do have a support system, who did grow up with money or who grew up with financial literacy already and already had great jobs. Like, there's so much comparing that goes into it and we can start feeling really bad, but I didn't learn that until more recently, you know, in the last couple of years. I'm doing everything that, you know, and it's still not working. So there's a double-edged sword to personal development, but so, you know, starting with that book and just my values, I've worked with a few coaches, like, and they're kind of the ones who were like, okay, I'm going to send you this values list and I want you to pick 5. I'm like, 5? There's like 200 on here. That's not fair. So I had to keep like going over it and over it until I could really nail it down. And eventually I realized, you know, freedom, you know, time freedom, financial freedom, you know, it's all these freedoms that I want, you know, family, traveling, health, all these things that we care about, you know, so that's only been recent, like in the last 2 or 3 years where it's like, okay, our health is important. You know, for me, one of the things that has always been with me is I'm overweight. And no matter what I've done, I've tried every diet. You know, the only thing that's helped me lose weight in college was a doctor prescribing Fastin or phentermine, and it's basically speed. So you don't anything. And I'm taking Fastin and I'm drinking, you know, I'm a college student. I'm 18, 19, you know, I lose like 30 pounds. Great. And then I gain it all back once I stop taking it, you know, and it's just, so health for me, you know, I've went and got my panels done again. And there's a bunch of nuance though that I'm learning in your panels where between one in particular is your hormone levels for your thyroid. So doctors and psychiatrists look at the number slightly differently. So if you're like, I'm at a 4.
Okay.
And doctors are like 4 is good. Psychiatrists over 2 is not good and something's off. So there's a nuance in these things that I'm starting to work with, you know, trying to figure out what's going on, why my whole life I was told I'm big boned. Like, what the fuck is that? What is big bone?
Exactly.
That's what, you know, my family did to make it better that they were unhealthy and were overeating the bad thing, you know, like my family, my dad was in the military. We grew up on Guam, like the first 5 or 6 years of my life. And we ate McDonald's like every single day. Like that was the only fast food on the island at the time. So it's like, I didn't grow up with good habits. So now health is our value. So like we are working out and trying to again, you know, again, life happens.
Mhm.
So it's like we do great for a month or two, and then we fall off for a few months, and then we
Yeah.
start over. Like, but as long as you keep going,
Yeah.
at some point, like, you will get there.
Mhm.
We're in a very busy season, so it's like
Yeah.
we do the best we can.
Yeah.
Winter's starting, so I can't go on my
Yeah.
walks. Okay, so I could go out in the snow and walk, but I
Yeah.
refuse.
Yeah. That's
I have a
fair.
treadmill we have to bring inside. I hate being on a treadmill. I love walking outside.
I
So
know.
it's really hard for me, right? But I have
Yeah.
to do these things.
Yeah.
Time freedom. So again, that's why I'm building an online business, and I'm
Mhm.
trying, I want to make money from my podcast. And I was until one of the people that I had for an affiliate stopped their program. I literally made like $500 in a month by just putting one ad on these bags, like these are my favorite bags, right? But now they're like, they don't need other people affiliates anymore because they're so big now. So I was like,
Oh,
dang.
jeez.
But like those types of things and passive income, right? That whole scam, nothing is passive.
No.
It's so much work. Like people are like, oh, podcasting is easy. No, it's not.
No,
There's
it's not.
so
many
much
layers to
work.
it. Yeah.
Holy. Like, so all of these things, like, it's just, I'm trying to decide what I can do.
Yeah.
In the time that I have, which is next to nothing.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that I'm balancing. Those are my values. Family time, health and financial and traveling. Like, so anything that doesn't fit in these pillars, we've been letting go of.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some caveat to that just because like my best friend got married this year. So it was like, okay, do I want to spend all this money in this dress and blah, blah, blah? Yes, I have to. It's for her. Right. But anything else, like, and that again, like with the travel basketball, does that fit in with our financial goals and paying off debt and family time? No, it takes away, it subtracts. So we stop doing those, at least right now.
Sure.
Yeah, it's kind of how I develop values.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think that you did such a good job of explaining that. I think that's so important to remember is, we grow up in these households, and my household was very emotionally traumatic and stimulating. And and so I had to unlearn so many things, and really realizing what I thought was normal actually wasn't. I mean, there's a whole unlearning and relearning, and then choosing. And you said something so important. Okay, the pillars I operate off of when I'm working with women, especially, whether it's one-on-one or in groups, or as we're having conversations on the podcast, are: you are worthy, you are valuable, and you get to choose. And I think sometimes we lose sight of the get to choose. And that doesn't mean it's easy. That doesn't mean you can stop the unexpected things from happening, but you get to choose how you respond to them. You get to choose how you heal or not. You get to choose if you're going to stay stuck or not. You get to choose if you're going to move some extracurriculars out of your life because it's not aligning with your values. So I think remembering in this, and that's, when I work with women, I introduce people by their character traits on purpose. And I do this when I'm working with women one-on-one and in groups too. We do this exercise. I want you to be based in who you are as a person, not what you're doing, not your titles, your roles, your work. I want you to be grounded in that's important for you. I want you to know what kind of activities nourish you and fill you up and fit into your self-care. And, like you said, the intention behind that. I want you to be able to identify how you want to feel the next 6 months. And I want you to be able to see, okay, if I want to have all these experiences, and am I looking at my calendar? Do any of these things align with that? And that's what you've done. You've taken that, you've got that compass, and it's so valuable. And that leads nicely into living out of your own expectations versus others. You have set that up by making these decisions and taking these steps. Does it feel like that for you?
Yeah. I mean, I like the thing that comes to mind is like, it's lonely.
Yeah.
it's really hard to find people who understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, because a lot of people live on autopilot or subconsciously and don't even know that, like, this is your one life. This is all you got. And it's not anybody's fault. Like, this is how we were indoctrinated into this world. Like, this
absolutely.
Is they want us to be numb and following the whatever fucking thing they want us to follow, go to school and then work until you die, paying for our lifestyle. Like, that is what it is.
Yeah.
That's why I have a big fucking problem with schools, because schools are training our children to do the same thing.
Oh yeah. The whole capitalistic do more.
It's bad at everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's devastating and people don't want to see that or hear that. They don't want to feel like they're a cog, right? They don't want to feel like they're just living this life for other people, because that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So living intentionally, is lonely.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find my people.
Yeah.
Because when for instance, my girls, they're the oldest, they're 11 and 10. And when they have friends over and I can tell what their parents' value systems are, and I'm like, these are not the people or children that I want my kids around.
Yeah.
And what's something that comes to mind when you hear a woman say that? You're judgmental. That's awful. Like, why would you judge parent? Like, yep, I get to choose.
Yeah.
And I have to come to terms with that, because I also feel bad for feeling that way about people I don't know.
Sure.
Because maybe I'm wrong, but mostly I'm not.
Yeah.
Because, I've been around 30 years here. I've met lots of people. I know how, just from how they talk and how they hear themselves and what they talk about.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to curate your life in a way that holds your values. Because a lot of people don't necessarily have them.
Yeah.
Like, thought about them, like, really,
right.
You know what I mean?
I do, because we live so disassociated, and we get these scripts starting when we're very young of how we're supposed to show up in the world. Go to high school, get the diploma, go to college or in the military or trade school or whatever it is, go get that advanced degree, go get that job, meet your partner, have the kids, buy the house, go on the vacation, get the car. All of these things will make you happy and life will be perfect. And that's just not how it goes. And in the process, we don't stop. I've said this a lot lately, it keeps coming up. If we let kids be kids, and yes, we want them to be kind. We want them to be, thoughtful. We want them to be empathetic. So we teach, and we model that by doing that ourselves. And we can teach it and model it, but other than that, let's let them be. Let's let them play and like what they like. And of course you can come in and say, like, okay, we're only going to do this. And when it gets dark, you have to come in. And when it's time to eat a meal, or it's time to rest and go to bed, it's time to take a bath. Yes, there's all these boundaries and things that create a scope that need to be in place, but let them have these experiences and also have experiences with them. And if they're having a hard emotion, walk them through the hard emotion. Don't tell them it's not okay to have it. And we don't outwardly say it's not okay for you to have that. But all the time we're telling kids not to cry. We're telling kids not to have emotions and feelings. And so then they learn very early on, it's not okay to show up how I'm feeling. That's going to be, that's not going to be received well. And so by the time we get out of the house and off to college, maybe we can find ourselves, maybe we don't, maybe it's more scripting. And so it leads to this level of disassociation because we're just doing the things we've been told to do. But no one's ever asked us, or maybe we've never asked ourselves, most importantly, is that what I really want? And I feel like at some point, everybody in their life hits a wall where they're reckoned with that question. and they either choose to answer it and make some hard decisions so they can start living authentically, or they choose to stay comfortable and they just live like you're talking about, disassociated, following the scripts and just being okay with that's just what my life is, and limiting themselves, but limiting everybody in their circle by living in that way. And when I first really started living not disassociated from all the emotions and trauma I was storing, and this has come up a lot the last few days either. It's funny how these things come up in ways. All of a sudden I'm with my therapist and I'm like, my body, I'm feeling, what is happening here? She's like, you've been feeling that all along. You were just so disassociated, you didn't notice it. And it's like, and she goes, and also your nervous system feels comfortable now, feels safe now. Comfortable is not the right word there. Feels safe now. So it's also allowing things to come up because you're finally giving it the safe space to do so. So I think it's really tricky because we can't make people be the way we think they should be. Yeah. And I have fought that for years. I fought it for years. I just knew if I could over explain enough to you why you should do something, then by God, you were going to come around. Yeah. And what I had to learn is that's just not true. That's codependent. That's trauma bonding. All the things that I learned growing up, that's how relationships were wound and created. And having to realize that that's not how it works. And in that process, you may have to make some decisions based on your values, your health, what is healthiest for you. There may be some relationships that have to change. There may be some spaces you just can't inhabit or give much of your time to because of disruption that happens in your body. You talked about earlier, your body knows before your mind knows that July's coming. We carry these things with us. I drove through about a month ago, the area where I grew up, where a lot of this trauma happened. And I hadn't had a visceral reaction. I'd been through there a few times over the years, over the last 5 or 6 years. Hadn't had that, but I had a really visceral reaction this time. Like my body seized up the whole night. I'm like, to a point where we were going to stop at my favorite food place there that I grew up with. And I told my husband, no, I don't want to stop. I just need to get through and keep going. And I'd realized, you know what? I've done some work in this specific area lately. And that's what I was able to make the connection later that week. I'm like, why now? So all that to say, that was a lot of words from me, but I think it's just really important that we're able to come back to those why and those values, get real clear on our expectations, communicate them, and also own that doesn't mean it's easy. Just because we have clarity doesn't mean it's easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oftentimes I find that the more clarity we have, the harder because we have to really do it. We have to really go there. We have to, there's no going back once you've seen the light.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's just it. And this goes, nicely into embracing our layers. You have done that. You continue to do that. It's an evolution. You said the word griefy earlier. You talked about how grief will come up at different times. It doesn't mean that you don't also feel joyful and that you also can't be funny. And resilient and courageous. All these things can coexist. That's all part of, I think, understanding and embracing our layers. Talk to me about your layers journey though, because boy, when you go through what you went through, and at the caveat, your husband was deployed at the time you went where you lost your baby during birth. He was not there with you. And so to not only go through that, but then go through that alone and then be able to, whenever we go through such tremendous losses, we have to figure out how to live with those losses and how to move forward from that. And that's not a layer we love, but it's a layer we have to figure out. So talk to me about that in the context of your embracing layers journey.
I've never, I don't know, embracing any part of me has never been easy.
Yeah.
from, messages that I grew up with.
Yeah.
I had to be productive to be loved. I had to be, I had to be doing something for somebody to be, everything was conditional.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was always very hard for me to just accept any part of me that was less than what others thought should be good or, perfect or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. That experience was terrible. Don't recommend it. Thankfully my husband is not in the military anymore. So we don't have to go through deployments anymore. Thank God.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not something that I ever thought I would experience. I thought, as most women do, if you have other little children and you don't have high risk anything, you don't have any, the only health risk I ever have on my paperwork, it's obesity. Like that's the only thing it ever says.
Yeah.
And although that is, technically a, what would it be called? I think one of the factors for stillbirth or losing a baby. Honestly, I didn't want to embrace any of this.
Yeah.
I was angry. I was really fucking angry. There's still parts of me that are angry. There's still parts of me. There's still many parts of me that I don't think I've accepted. There's still yesterday felt like 16-year-old me when I would get overwhelmed with my feelings and had no idea what to do with them.
Yeah.
And nobody to show me or explain to me what was going on with me.
Yeah.
Telling my daughter that today, because I'm like, isn't it weird that I'm just okay now?
Yeah.
And I have these conversations with them because not to make them feel like they're responsible or like they're, my friend and but in the sense that I'm always trying to help them understand their feelings.
Yeah.
And letting them know like mental health is like, I was diagnosed with depression when I was 16.
Mm-hmm. So
living with that, it can be triggered at any time. You may not even know. It can, so explaining those things to them, so that they know, and like, it's really important that they see like, wow. Because and they were worried yesterday. They're like, Mom, like what's going, they thought something was wrong. And what I tell them, I'm like, there's actually nothing that I can pinpoint that's wrong, but I am feeling so sad that I'm just crying, right? Like there's nothing physically wrong with me. I'm not dying. It's just my mental state today. And I can't explain why.
Yeah.
And so just trying to give them verbiage for that. But there's just like, yesterday was like 16-year-old me, like not understanding why life was so hard and, how it felt and hopeless. And what's the point? I don't think the whole Evelyn thing and the grief from losing her, that is something that I've embraced more over time. Embracing parts of yourself is not a normal thing that we talk about.
No.
Not something that literally we don't talk about this. So it's like, okay, how am I supposed to embrace me, or what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Really, it just means looking at those parts of you and being like, okay, this is who I am. I am overly sensitive. I am empathic. I feel people's pain. But I'm also, I can sit with that and not die or want to get hurt by it.
Yeah.
Is it emotionally taxing? Yes. But these parts of me help other people. Yeah. And that's how I find that I can embrace it. The parts of me that, I am very loud and obnoxious at times, but not everybody knows this. Yeah. Most people know me professionally, they know that I use humor when I'm talking about this heavy stuff, because we have to have the duality of that in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, nobody's going to want to do this. Nobody wants to talk about dead children. They just don't.
No.
It's probably the most devastating thing. Losing anybody is devastating.
Yeah.
So, but I just, everything I do for my business, for my family, for my children, I feel like, I don't know, the older I get, the more I'm embracing different parts, right?
Yeah.
Right now, honestly, I'm working on, like, as a theme in my life, I was never taught about money. So I'm having to embrace that I don't know anything about money. And I'm 36. So there's like that shame, but I'm also like, no, like I don't have to feel that way, because I didn't have any type of financial literacy education.
Yeah.
I didn't have access to money. Anything that I didn't work for, or, I didn't have a trust fund. I don't have anything like that. So embracing the fact that I don't know is also empowering, because now I can be like, okay, I may not be good at it yet, but I can become that.
Yeah.
Right. So being able to embrace just the things that maybe you're not so proud of. Right. I feel like as a 36-year-old woman, it's like, okay, you should know how to handle money, at least budget and things like that. But it's hard for me because I'm also, my ADHD, my lovely thing that goes with that is impulsivity. So, and the dopamine, right? So what makes me feel really good is buying stuff.
Yeah.
It's that instant dopamine, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be lovely. And I'm sleeping in my new pajamas, because that's basically all I buy is new pajamas. Thanks. And blankets and new comforters. Like, those are the things that bring me joy. So although these things aren't great, and like, the impulsivity there, that's like a layer of me that is very hard to connect with, because I feel shame around her. Because, we have debt because I'm impulsive. Yeah. And it's, I don't know, there's layers, right? There's just all, I feel like every feeling, every like, every topic, there's a layer, but, every day. Yeah.
Well, I think the way you've talked about is so important. This is what I always, when I work with women, I'm like, listen, this isn't about loving every part of your life or every characteristic or everything. It's about meeting it where it is. And you said such a good example of like, this was modeled to me. This is what I saw. Therefore, this is what I know or don't know. This is a decision I made based on that. So that makes sense that it would get there. That I don't love it, but I can wrap my head around how I got there. I mean, and I think the first thing that came to mind when you talked about the things that you tend to buy, those things are all very comforting and cozy and make you feel warm and safe, which I connect to because it goes to that deeper need of that emotional safety that I lacked growing up, that it sounds like you did as well. So even being able to make connect points to those things. So I don't like, listen, I'm not telling you to fall in love with every terrible thing that happened to you. I'm asking you to become curious rather than judgmental about it, and be able to create a relationship with it where you can see how it unfolded and where it came from, and be informed on how it both works for you and against you. And it's so, and kind of, but the curiosity over judgment has been such a key component for me. But thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's so helpful. The way you lay that out for people is so relatable. And this really goes into, you've had to learn through this layers journey and what I call living out feel, finding empowerment, embracing layers. When you grow up with not healthy relationships, I really had to learn the difference between codependent and healthy relationships, trauma bonding versus actual authentic emotional connection, feeling my emotions versus expressing emotions, but not processing them. I mean, I had to, and the kinds of people that I would surround myself with that both ignited this and also gave me comfort and peace, I had to like make some hard decision at some point. I'm like, this energy I cannot do. I'm going to have to love them from afar. It's not working for me. Has that been something you've had to learn as well on the relationship side?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
My mother and I are estranged. She had to be completely cut out from my life. And I mean, I did it once and then let her back. And nope, it didn't change.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Yeah, it's just I can't be the person I am with her around. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like when I'm near her or with her, I want to please her.
Yeah.
So I act differently. I revert back to who I was.
Yeah.
Like teenager self, right? Always looking for the approval, always looking for her to love me, just to love me, not because I did something for her, you know?
Yeah.
And like I always say my therapist told me she's a narcissist so that people aren't like, I'm just like diagnosing.
Yeah.
True. But she had, and I know now as I get older that her life and the things that happened to her were not fair. And there are things that she never took, like she thinks mental health is a joke. Right. And so, she will never get help. Yeah. She will never accept or admit responsibility for anything she did wrong. It's always somebody else. So having that and, I was like, I can't let my children be around her. Yeah. I don't even trust my own mom to be around me. Yeah. And so it just, she refuses to accept and acknowledge boundaries that I set. That was the first time that I cut her off right before Evelyn was born. Yeah. Because she was trying to force what she was going to do and show up, even though I said, don't show up. Like I want time to myself with just my girls, that type of thing. Sure. I wasn't allowed to have boundaries because she's my mother. She gave birth to me. She gave life to me. She owns me. That's basically where we were. So yeah, thankfully, it's sad. Everybody wants their mom. I feel if they had a mom, right? Or even if they just dream of having a mom, but, yeah. So, that's been difficult because of all the things that I've gone through. I could have really used a mom. Yeah. And yeah, unfortunately, if you go down this values path, which I hope everybody, right? Like these are the things that you live for. These are the things that make your life better. It's just, you're going to lose people. You're going to realize that you do have to have arm's length with people. You do have to have states in between you. You're gonna realize you can't just go home anymore because, like where you're from or wherever you're from. Yeah. It's very hard for me because my friends that are still home, are the same people that they always have been. Yeah. And for me, that's hard because I'm not. Yeah. And sometimes they expect that of me to like revert back and to be the party girl and to, do all the things. But, it's hard. Yeah. Yeah. It's a choice.
It is. Yeah. It's a choice. I think that's such an important piece to remember is at some point when you're really embracing your layers and getting to know who you are, you have to make a choice for the betterment of you and your health and your family and all those you love to quit abandoning yourself. And sometimes that comes with a cost with some relationships. I have a similar story in my life. And I just got to a point where it was like, no amount of explaining is going to make them do the things that I feel and if experience is healthy. And so I have to quit banging my head against a wall here. And I know I don't owe them anything. I don't have to put myself in these situations that I know that are going to fire up my nervous system, that I know are going to put me in conversations and situations and interactions that I don't think are valuing or honor my values or honor what, and so you do have to make some hard choices sometimes, but it's also, you also find out who is for you, and you find out who will show up for you no matter what. And you find out, and some of the times those people surprise you, and that can bring a lot of joy as well. So I think it's just that, at the end of the day, getting to a point where it's like, I will honor myself and I will no longer abandon myself. And I will be open with my family about that, because I want my kids to see that I'm honoring myself and no longer abandoning myself, especially as a woman with girls. I think it's even more important that they get that message. So thank you so much for all of this and your vulnerability in sharing this. We are winding down here. Share with me 5 activities that nourish you.
5 activities that nourish me. I love watercolor painting, flowers. So that's something I do. Walking when there's sunshine and it's warm. No, yeah, when it's cold. I love sitting by the water. I'm a lake girl, not an ocean girl.
Yeah.
So I'm terrified of the ocean. Sitting by the water and listening and closing your eyes, and just taking in all the senses and the sounds and the sand and what else? Oh man, I love my red light face lamp. Yeah, I sit in bed with that while I'm reading. And being with my family, of course. I mean, that's
yeah, I love that. All right, 5 words on how you want to feel the next 6 months.
Oh my God, rejuvenated, re-energized, right? Like I'm feeling. It's the end of the year too, though. This is, like, looking at it, it's typical. It's exhausting.
It is.
Wow, that's a hard. Rejuvenated, re-energized, or energized, I guess.
Yeah.
Excited. Like I want to be excited about something. This is a really hard question, Melissa. Oh my God. What do other people say? I don't know.
Well, I know that's the whole point. I love to get people thinking about it, and because we don't think about it, which is kind of, the point with the questions. When we came up with these talking points, these are the things that challenged me. These are the questions that through my therapy, through a lot of work our family did, through work I did with a mentee of mine, I kind of collectively came up with these points to what I call the FEEL framework now, to live by, to ask ourselves on a regular basis to make sure we're living in alignment, in connection. But they're hard. They require, and especially the season you're in, like you've got so many irons in the fire. But I think also you were able to come up with 3 really powerful ones. And so I think if anything, it's just that reminder of that intention of, let me think about this every so often. And then let me examine what am I doing to contribute to that? It goes back to that choice piece, that accountability piece that I think sometimes it's really hard. And I'm sure you find this when you're working with families and women I've got some resources and I can support you and help you, but you're going to have to participate in this. Like, I can't fix it all for you. And I don't have this isn't a magical thing that's going to make all of your problems go away. It is going to help you get to know you. It is going to help you get in touch with who you are, but it's going to require your participation. And I think that can be hard.
Totally. I thought of another one though. Fulfilled. I want to feel some sort of fulfillment. Like,
yeah.
I've been working so hard. It feels like I'm getting nowhere.
Yeah.
Validated. I want to feel validated.
There you go. See, there. we talked through it. But I think so much too. But I'm glad we did that though, because I think it's just that it goes back to the intention piece you talked about. It's like, okay, if I've got this, if I know if I can ask myself these things or check in with myself on these things, then this is going to help me stay in alignment with who I am. Because also values and whys and what we care about changes in different seasons. And so it's also that, like, if you start feeling a little angsty, it's like, let me review these things because something shifted here. So yeah, it's just there to kind of make us think and keep us present and keep us intentional, bringing it back to what we talked about in the beginning. Vallen, share with people where they can find you and follow you. And I will also have all of this in the show notes and on our website at embracinglayers.com on the resources page.
Yeah, I'm terrible with social media. I do have an Instagram page at Evelyn James & Co. Not the greatest.
But your website's wonderful.
My website, we have our website, evelynjamesandco.com, and then evelynjames.shop is our grief marketplace thing. And I say thing because it's still it's being built out.
Yeah.
And the podcast.
Yeah.
The podcast is.
Yeah, it's on all the platforms. Yeah. And it is, and so take a listen to that. All those links, like I said, will be at embracinglayers.com on our resources page, as well as in our show notes. Any last thought you'd like to leave with our listeners today?
I feel like personal development is, that lifelong journey.
Yeah.
But most people don't realize, I don't want to say they should do it or need to do it or have to do it. But at the end of the day, this whole life journey, what I'm seeing, what I realize for myself is that it's the biggest journey is just figuring out who we are in this body, in this life.
Yeah.
Because I believe, our spirit goes on. So it's just learn more about yourself. And this is a great way, listening to those podcasts, embracing the layers, because we're all made up of millions of layers. We don't even touch on next to any of, it's just, there's so many, and we're so multifaceted. We're just, and finding somebody you can talk to about it. That's the harder part. When you're asking me and you said something about the 5 words, it's like, okay, we're talking about it. And I was able to process and be like, oh no, this. Some people don't have that. So finding somebody who wants to be on that journey or, something, we need community.
Yeah. Community and curiosity. I always say curiosity and comfort cannot coexist together. If you can stay curious, it will keep you from getting comfortable because comfort doesn't make space to continue to evolve and learn and grow. And I'm with you. We are evolving and learning and growing and discovering layers and retiring old layers throughout our whole life. And so staying curious about that exploration and what's possible and connecting with other people that do that. Vallen, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate so much how you show up in the world and all that you offer. Listeners, so much here, so much good gold here. Go back, listen, take a look at Vallen's resources, and remember just to continue to develop and learn about you. You are worthy, you are valuable, and you get to choose. Take good care of yourselves and have a great week. We will see you next time here on the F.E.E.L podcast. Hello, and thank you so much for being with us today on this episode of the F.E.E.L podcast. If you would like more information on how you can apply these talking points that I share with our guests in each episode to your own life, really utilize this FEEL framework, go to embracinglayers.com, fill out our contact form, and let's set up a free 30-minute consultation to talk about how you can start living your most authentic, organic, healthy, FEEL-fueled life. Thanks again for being with us today. We'll be back to you soon with another episode here on the FEEL podcast.